Hello, hello, and welcome back to Minotaur Hotel. This music looks a little bit quiet, so I'm going to turn that up just a little bit, I think. Yeah. So, Asteron just kind of like left. He's doing his thing. One step at a time, he ambles towards the door, taking breaks as to rest against the wall and adjust his eyesight to the light. It takes a long time, but he leaves the room, the cold room, and makes his way to the infirmary. You follow him closely, making sure he doesn't trip or get hurt. His back is covered in bed sores. Against all odds, Asteron can indeed make it on his own. The infirmary is like looking into a period piece about the Second World War with an added layer of dust and rust. Much like the kitchen, it was evacuated in a hurry. There was clipboards strewn about, medical vials left half opened, even a hypodermic needle still loaded with a sickling yellow liquid. Okay, friend. Squinting his eye, Asteron walks up to the drawer. He examines each one, silent until one of them reveals shards of green glass and a purple dried out stain. The Minotaur slouches further in size. He scrapes a finger on the drawer, trying to gather much of the purple dust, but it's no use. He continues looking around the room, and you do the same. All you find are dusty bandages, long rotted medications, and deep in one of the drawers, a nearly empty bottle of wine. You hold it up against the shadow of the window. There is just an inch of wine left. The cork is dried out and crumbled into dust. In the heat, it must have turned into vinegar already. You're about to put it back when you notice Asteron's gaze following the bottle. He looks up briefly to your eyes, his face contorted into a pleading frown. Is this what you're looking for? The Minotaur nods meekly. The wine heals me. He does not budge until you extend it to him. Only then does he bow. The Minotaur sits on one of the infirmary beds. The cork crumbles to dust when he pulls it, leaving the bottle still cogged. Offer to open it for him. You extend a hand to him. He switches from looking at the bottle, held close against his chest, to your hands. Begrudgingly, he returns it to you. There's just enough cork left for you to pull it off. You return the bottle to the Minotaur. His hands shake as he tries to pour a few drops of the wine into the palm of his hand. He places the bottle on the nightstand. The Minotaur dabs. Oh, man, he do it. His finger into the wine, leaving a single drop nearly falling from it, and touches one of his wounds. He repeats the process again and again. A few drops fall onto the bed, his face frowning bitterly. When the handful of wine is nearly gone, he rubs his still wet hands on his exposed skull. It's only been a minute, but you can already notice some of the wounds healing. The Minotaur notices you watching. His lips, or what remains of them, curl into a proud half-smile. Yes, I can heal quite quickly, provided I have the wine for it. It is just a pity the full bottle I had stashed was broken. Asteron reaches a hand to his back. He flinches as he grazes one of the bed sores. Offered to spread the wine for him. Let me help you with that. You can't see. He drops his ears in defeat, knowing full well you were right. However, he extends the bottle back to you with a speed betraying his eagerness. His tail flicked to and fro behind him. You dab a piece of old gauze with the wine and get to work. The Minotaur's wounds have a black tinge to them. A dark oil seems to have accumulated on them, oozing down his back is clearly defining river. He flinches when the fabric touches his damaged skin, but pushes back against you at the same time. His wounds close quickly, in an almost unsettling speed. 5 minutes later, you've run out of wine, but it was enough to rid Astron of his most egregious bed sores. He lays a hand on his skull. I'll need a lot more wine for this. You ask if there is any other way you can help him. Astron has a shy curve on his lips when he looks up to you from the bed. His tail flicks to the left, to the right. He swings his hooves over the wall of the floor. When he speaks, his voice is is grave, however, and rumbles with sobriety. You've been too kind already, Master. It would be terribly unfitting of a keeper to impose a task onto his master, let alone as many as you've aided me with so far. His one remaining eye is half closed. Oh man, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the recording, and I'm like, why can I not get that other end of the screen? It just always has that black bar, no matter how I try to adjust it on the left side. Like, I don't know. Oh, that's... Oh, now it's at the bottom. Wait, how can I... Sorry, guys. Look, I don't know. Nah, it is what it is. I hope that doesn't bother you too much. Please, worry not about me. He speaks then with a twinge of relief. Unless Master has a task for me, I shall take some rest here and then wash myself. I am most unfitting now for a keeper of the hotel. Oh, excuse me. Master needs not worry. You should have some food first. What if you pass out in the bathroom? That shall not be an issue. I can obtain sustenance now that you've accepted me into your service. Ugh, I mean, it's kind of bothering me how... No? Because I can't full screen the game because reasons. Oh, whoops. If I... What if I do this terrible idea and... I just don't know, guys. I mean, I'm trying. It's like the bottom and left side, no matter how I adjust it, it just doesn't... I don't know. The Master commands the labyrinth, and through the oath you have bequeathed. That's it. Me, some of your power. I shall not go hungry again. There is much I can gladly teach you about the labyrinth, Master. It shall tend to your needs, if you know how to lead it. Observe. For half a second, it's as if the entire world blinks around you, and your mind goes blank along with it. Now Asteron has in his hands an overflowing a bunch of grapes. Do you like grapes? I hope these are to your liking. You hesitate before accepting food from him. Shouldn't he be the one eating first? The master eats first. Only then may the keeper feed. Regardless, master has been kind to me, and I would be happy to share with thee. The Minotaur seems eager to have you taste the grapes. They are impossibly sweet, but you only take a few, so he may start eating. He flicks his ears and tails at your enjoyment, and then starts wolfing down the grapes. He barely looks up to you now. As soon as he's run out of grapes, a new bunch appear in his hands, then a cup of water and more fruit still. When he does finally look up to you, he slows down and tries to clean his muzzle of all of the juicy bits. His eyes betray a tinge of self-consciousness. I am sorry. I am more a beast than I am man. Sometimes it gets the better of me. I should not be so brutish around master. Although, in my defense, my table manners are excellent when I have the benefit of not being starved. He cracks a half smile. Even naked, with a disfigured muzzle covered with grape juice, Asteron looks up to you with a noble-like posture. His back is straight, and his shoulders shift slightly to a broader stance. There's a tinge of pride in his barely noticeable smile, the small joy of having kept his dignity even in impossibly harsh circumstances. Perhaps this would be a good moment to let the Minotaur have some privacy. I'll let you have your rest. I'll come back to check on you later. Asteron interrupts his feeding frenzy to bow at you. Dignified, despite the juices running down his mouth and chest. I shall be presentable after washing up, master. Worry not about me. This seems so horny, though. I feel like I should give him his privacy. Like, he wants to be so self-sufficient. And I kind of want to give him that. Like, I don't know. I feel like I'd also be, like, nagging him, like, no, you can't do it, let me help you. Like, that's just, like, I'm the kind of person that, like, if someone, like, really pushes back against me and, like, no, I can do it, I kind of just give them that space. I did that with my grandparents a lot. Like, there's a lot of simple things that they're just like, no, I'm going to do this. You're not going to help me. You're the guest in this house, so you shouldn't be doing it. That's kind of like, yeah. I would kind of feel bad about that today, but at the same time, that's just kind of how I am. Very well. If you need help, just yell, all right? I don't want you getting hurt, even if you can't die, as you say. Asteron takes a good look at you, his dark eyes gleaming softly under the infirmary's light. There's almost a wetness to them. His he breathes so slowly as he gazes at you, tail flicking to and fro. He takes in every feature of your face at one time. One at a time. Thank you for releasing me, master. His eyes betray his drowsiness. He bows to you, and in doing so, nearly falls asleep. You tell him to get some rest. I will. You let him have his privacy. Drink your sorrow away? Okay, that doesn't seem ominous. You're back in the ruined hallway. It stretches into the lobby and further into the hotel. Up ahead, something catches your eye. A leather-bound volume, not too different from the check-in register you found in the reception office, has been carelessly thrown on the floor. A cursory look revealing most of the pages has been torn out, but the cover's backside contains something written in the same script from the deed. The glyph shifts and twists under your gaze, marching into place the harder you look. After a few minutes, however, it turns uncomfortably, as if your mind was being drilled by the paper. You take a seat as the lounge's bar, just a foot away from the green glass shards scattered over top the purple stain. You lose yourself in deciphering the script. Asteron's sentence. Hereby the gods of Olympus sentence the prisoner Asteron to the eternal damnation for his meekness or in cowardice in the face of adversity. With the sentence, his prison is created, a labyrinth born of the gods. Itcher? I don't know, guys. The labyrinth shall welcome lost mortals with nowhere to go. Among them, a jailer will be picked to command and rewrite the realm. The jailer in the labyrinth's mission is to secure the prisoner's internal torture. The jailer shall enjoy power and freedom to rewrite the labyrinth as to better enact his vision. Asteron of Crete, adopted son of King Minos, and every drop of his blasphemous blood is hereby sentenced to the labyrinth. By this decree, the God's will is done. You obtain the ledger. The ledger lists your obtained items, guests, and additional information. Click the icon in the top right corner of the screen to open it. Top right? Lodo? Ledger. Interesting. The light around you has shifted. You look back to the garden, and the sun is already setting. Time passes in a flash, and now the clop of hooves on marble floor echoes through the corridor. The Minotaur enters the lounge, sees you, and bows. Greet him. Hello, Asteron. Did you sleep well? I did, Master. I must thank you for allowing me rest. That's good to hear. I take it you have no issue with your bath? I did not. Asteron stands up and looks at you directly. I should ask for your forgiveness. I left you waiting without providing a tour of the hotel or its inner working. That was awfully unfit of my position as the hotel's keeper. I am at your disposal now, however. There are a few questions eating away at me. Like, can you please put some pants on so I don't have to keep censoring this with Yu-Gi-Oh cards just to laugh at? I don't know. Maybe this episode I'll use Smile World. Last episode I used my ace monster, Megalo Smasher X, the greatest and most powerful monster ever printed in Yu-Gi-Oh. I'll probably use Smile World this time. That just sounds funny. There are a few questions eating away at me. If you don't mind, but we can leave them for later if you aren't feeling well. I know I could have put the safe for work thing, and it would probably cover up, his penis. But, after reading that it skips scenes, I don't like that. I want to be able to read the entire game. I don't want to skip scenes just because, the sex and penis, because I can just censor that myself. I kind of wish that it would just, censor the images, but it's not what they're doing. It's whatever. I am well enough to fulfill my duty. What is it the master wishes to know? Well, to start off, how are you feeling? Yeah, you know what? How are you feeling? Well, I'll admit, I'm a little worried about you. How are you feeling? Was the shower enjoyable? The Minotaur shifts his gaze, trying to read your expression and tone. looking for a tinge of irony or perhaps malice. I am well. It was quite peculiar showering after all those years. I had forgotten what water felt like. It is fortunate that my wounds were closed. It could have been a painful affair otherwise. For quite a while I just stood there under the water, thinking and feeling. All of that is to say, yes, I am doing well. It is kind of you to ask. Is that all you wish to know? How did you make food appear out of thin air? So, about the food. Back there, you just made fruit appear on your hand. It was like the whole world just blinked for a second. What exactly is going on? I am frightfully sorry, my lord. I failed to explain it ahead of time. This realm operates under very particular rules. It relates to the oath I swore. Contracts, oaths, promises, all manifestations of will that the master can be made to have binding effect. Laws in this land are self-enforcing, if branded by the Lord's might. The oath I swore, it relates to one ancient piece of law, the statue of Joseph, the Merciful. It is in one of its articles, it allows me to summon food. Under most circumstances, the swearing of the oath would have been a formal event. Within, I would have read the full stature. But this situation was dire indeed. I am sorry, my lord. As soon as possible, I shall present you the stature for your consideration. Thanks. I don't like signing contracts I don't read. But don't go overexerting yourself. I suppose this isn't a priority right now. Getting you patched up is more important. Still, that isn't exactly what I asked you about. You can summon food because of the oath, but how can food be summoned like that in the first place? In other words, what kind of place is this? The Minotaur's gaze goes to the floor, his hooves scraping against it. This realm was created to imprison me. The jailer's mission is to keep watch, and for that purpose, the gods saw fit that matter could be spontaneously created. So the jailer's job would not be interrupted by petty things such as material limitations. It is, as well, the master's compensation. Being able to create whatever your heart desires out of thin air, this is quite a reward, wouldn't you say? You're right. That's no small power. With some creativity, anyone could make a fortune out of this place. Well, there are a few limitations. Mainly, the realm refuses to make metals such as gold or silver in large quantities. But previous masters were quite clever, and that did not stop them from amassing fortunes of their own. As keeper, it is my duty to instruct you on this matter. I can show you how to summon materials. I'd appreciate that a lot, but we can leave that for later if it's complicated. I have more I'd like to discuss with you. Very well. What is it the master wishes to know? What other magical creatures are there? Excuse me. I'm still a bit shaken up after learning Greek gods are real, or were. There are a lot of implications to that, you know. For example, I can assume there's an afterlife then. Perhaps. I was sent to an afterlife after my death. It was called Hades. But that was back then, thousands of years ago. I know not what happens to the gods, or if their realm persists to this day. Neither do I know if other afterlife realms exist in the first place, although I do believe that is the case. I am aware, however, that the worship of the Olympians has long gone out of favor. If Master would entertain my curiosity, is it still so? No one worships them, no. It's a dead religion, that's for sure. Most you'll find is people studying it during history classes, and some places do use the gods as symbols. That's about it. I see. Then in this regard, nothing changed since I was locked away. There's something I want to know, however. You told me about the gods and other magical beings. I want to know more about that, if you don't mind. Ah, I see. Yes, that is a question masters of previous times struggled with as well. And despite my thousands of years, I must admit I do not possess complete knowledge about the variety of magical beings that exist. I know only of those that passed by this hotel, and of what they were kind enough to share with me. They used a charm to pass unnoticed as humans. It wasn't always like that. That custom became only a handful of centuries ago. When I was a child, there was no such thing. My true form was plain for everyone to see. And Father Minos made sure I was seen. Regardless, their charms never worked in this realm. I do not know why, but it was always a constant. It was peculiar. Back then, humans and supernatural guests mingled together. It is always jarring at first, but after a while, it became special. Humans are eager to learn about the unknown, and mythical beings yearn to live without a disguise. Now, back to the 20th century. They had taken to using what was the word again? It was a booklet they carried around. A passport? Yes, a passport. They would have it enchanted and would keep it close always. It was inconspicuous. But they'd keep multiple charms with them, jewelry oftentimes, in case they were separated from their documents. Did they make fake passports then? How was that? Oh, I don't think so. I am sorry that I know not much about it, but I had the impression those booklets were issued by governments. As in, the governments made the enchanted passports. A few times I was told they had to be registered. It was quite common for mythical beings, even the staff, to be required to report back to their countries for bureaucratic affairs. Or for warfare. Master Jean was not the only man we lost in the Great Wars. I didn't expect there to be bureaucracy around mythical beings. Indeed, it is a tad peculiar. But I would stress that all of this I learned from previous guests. I never saw it for myself. Oh, before I forget, I found these inside a safe near the reception. You give Asteron the bundle of passports. Are these the enchanted passports? They don't seem anything out of the ordinary. The Minotaur looks over each of the passports, his brow furrowed, and for a time and his lower lip quiver. Yes, it is. This is it. I recognize the names, and these are the passports. They hated these things. These were their shackles. Which is why they were so eager to stay and work here, in a place where they did not have to hide their true forms. It's not only about their shape either. There's something else these passports did. It made them easy to forget and go unnoticed. Again, I never witnessed it myself, but often I was told it was terribly difficult to make friends, establish relationships, when your loved ones are prone to forgetting you ever existed. That sounds rough, to say the least. There's must be a that must be a lonely existence. Theirs must be a lonely existence. Asteron thinks it sinks in thought as he flips over the passport's pages. He did not seem to hear you. When he does the last one, his gaze returns to you with a somber look. That is, more somber than before. Does, Master have more questions? I think that's all I have for now. I think that's all I have for now. Wait, I think that's all I had in mind for now. This makes a lot. This is a lot to take in. That gods and mythical creatures exist, for starters, and that this place can just create matter out of thin air. Thanks for telling me all that. I'll just need some time to process it all. It is a pleasure to serve. Could I provide Master with a drink? Would that please you? He looks behind you to the wall covered by dozens of bottles of liquor. Well, I don't think those are safe. I checked a few of them. They weren't smelling right. That will not be an issue. I can muster more for Master. Very well, go on. The Minotaur walks behind the counter, then the world blinks around you, and when you look again, he is holding a bottle of whiskey. He walks with a spring in his step, but stops once he sees the purple stain on the floor. Whatever smidgen of chipperness was on his face is gone. He lowers himself to the floor and runs a hand through the dried out wine. He tries scraping the dust off the ground, and then rubbing his hands on it to no avail. What's on your mind? The Minotaur speaks without looking up at you. He went all that way, the previous master. Locking me away wasn't enough. He had to kick out all the guests, go as far as breaking the bottles. He knew the wine could heal me. I had one in the infirmary in case I got hurt and needed help, and one here for my enjoyment. I hope he didn't break the others as well. It is impossible to willfully summon more. The Minotaur rises up and supports himself on the counter. He summons a rag and goes through the motions of dusting. No matter. Now, what is Master's want? I should tell you up front, the hotel's liquor is quite impressive. Ask where you can find the one. I'm not a drinker, so I don't really care. Asteron may be up and walking, but he's still far from being well. He can use the help. You mentioned having more wine bottles. Where are they? I'm sure I could fetch them for you. Asteron looks off to the side, seemingly thinking about your proposal. It is not proper for the keeper to be assisted by the master, I suppose. However, it would be my duty to take you there regardless. If memory serves me, there ought to be a bottle in the master's quarters. I think I'll end this part here, so I'll see you around, everyone.